Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the third in our series of talks on Vedic astrology, the goddess, and Ayurveda. So I'm just drawing together different ideas about Shakti, about the goddess, about Ayurveda and Vedic astrology for you in this series of short talks. So it's of particular importance, both in Ayurveda, in terms of the goddess, and in terms of Vedic astrology, that we're about to have a lunar eclipse, and that lunar eclipse will happen in Rohini Nakshatra. And Rohini is the star in Taurus that is the red eye of the bull. And Rohini is the most beloved wife of Chandra, the moon. And really, Rohini is the youngest bride of the moon. See, in Vedic astrology, in Vedic thought, the moon himself, Chandra, is male. And he has 27 wives, 27 other wives. Each of the wives are a tiny slice of the lunar cycle, the 28 days of the lunar cycle. And Rohini is the youngest bride and the most beautiful and the most seductive of all of the brides of the moon. And so this full moon is particularly auspicious because the moon spends his day of fullness with his most beloved wife, Rohini. And the moonlight really is an energy of creativity, of planting seeds, really fertile full moon, of becoming pregnant, really on every level. This is the star of ascent, and it's a red star of passion and of motivation. Now, being a red star, hello, you can say hello if you're here. Being a red star, of course, it contains a lot of Pitta dosha energy, the red color of rajas, of fire, and perhaps some water. Of course, Taurus, being this energy of enveloping this great female energy, has the energy of Pitta dosha. So we might find ourselves becoming overly excited or intense or angry through this full moon, even and the eclipse, even though it has a very beautiful energy of Rohini Nakshatra, the red goddess. So practices through this time to keep calm and cool and collected will be of essential importance. So like Sitali Pranayam, where you inhale in through the mouth and exhale out through the nose, will have a particular resonance through this full moon supercharged Rohini, red star moon. You know, Rohini, really, it is a star. All of the nakshatras are actual star or stars. And this star is the red eye of Taurus, the bull. It is an actual red star. And so while this passionate full moon has the ability to spark new creation, new creativity, a new life, there's also this eclipse. And in terms of Vedic astrology, in terms of Ayurveda, eclipses always have surprising and confused energy. And so this full moon eclipse really can open up channels of anything that's stagnant, really shake up anything that's stagnant, anything that's omogenic, anything that is really needs to be thought of and worked through new creative ways. This eclipse will definitely kind of stir things up. And really, you know, Rohini Nakshatra, this goddess energy, this red goddess energy, of course, the red goddesses are goddesses like Lakshmi and Lalita, or Red Tara or Kurukala. Even in the red family, all of the Padma goddesses we have. They really have the ability to light the heart on fire, to enchant and to entice. And really carry the resonance of love, like Kamikia. And but while they have this magnetic, enchanting, loving quality, they also carry a deeply destructive quality, the the unfocused anger. That passion and anger are very close to one another. Love and anger are very close to one another in Ayurveda and in Vedic thought. In fact, the winds, the channels that carry one, also carry the other. In fact, if we feel really angry and we stop and we feel into that and we take a deep breath and feel deeply into the current of anger, it will transform into a current of pure love and pure awareness, because the wind that carries anger is the same as the wind that carries love, really. The opposites, that which is revealed or that which is concealed, invites us into the revelation of what really is true. So this lunar eclipse also is known as Kartika Purnima, when Lord Shiva destroyed 3 cities with a single arrow. So again, the bow and arrow image calls to mind the archetype of the goddess with the bow and arrow, many goddesses with the bow and arrow, the archetype of Artemis and Diana, again, Kurukula, Red Tara, all carry a bow and arrow. Lalita carries a bow and arrow. So it's a bow and arrow that is the bow and arrow of Cupid that can explode into love, or it can be our destruction. And so really this full moon lunar eclipse is a time of freeing the heart and really remembering what we love. Now also, you know, Saturn and Jupiter are together, and this really expands restrictive energy. And really when Saturn and Jupiter come together, and this time it's coming together in Capricorn, so a lot of Vata energy, a lot of changeable energy. Usually when this happens, a lot of transformative social political changes occur. And of course, we're having the transfer of power in the US. And so we really need to take care of ourselves, especially taming Vata dosha through practices like oil massage, through getting good sleep, taking warming foods and nourishing ourselves. The eclipse itself is a traditional time for fasting or taking a light diet, if not taking all the way, taking a fast, taking a light diet of warm soups or warm juices or warmed, what are they called? Warm soups and warmed milk or milk substitutes. It's a traditional time of fasting because the mind, the inner channels, the inner winds, the right side and the left side, the lunar and the solar come together. And so there is this opportunity for awakening the central channel, awakening the Sushumna, awakening the energy of Kundalini. And we don't want the heavier kinds of things to bring the body down. And so the eclipse energy is traditionally a time for chanting mantras, for gentle fasting, and for doing pranayam, for doing spiritual practice like pranayam, anything that works with the mind, that works with the inner winds, that works with the inner pranas, the chakras, the wheels of energy, and the bindus, the droplets of energy within those wheels. The eclipse is a traditional time for doing that. So a mudra for Rohini Nakshatra would be, you know, the Alapadma mudra, because Rohini Nakshatra is the rose that opens up. So with the eclipse energy, using meditation on Padma mudra, Alapadma mudra, to blossom the heart can be very effective in terms of keeping the heart open, keeping the heart spacious to love as we move through this eclipse. So the first eclipse that happens tomorrow, next day, around the 30th, 29th to 30th, happens in Rohini, who is the most fertile, the most red, the most luscious of the goddesses, of the nakshatra goddesses, of the archetypes of the stars. She's really the Lakshmi, Venus, fertile, beautiful goddess energy in her most replacent form. And then the eclipse that will happen, the solar eclipse that happens in December, is happens in Jyesta nakshatra. Now, Jyesta is the elder sister energy. And the elder sister, really Jyesta is the elder sister of Lakshmi. And it's unclear if she's elder sister of Rohini. She may be elder sister of Rohini. It's just kind of hard to tell. And she is the opposite. She is black in color. She is inauspicious. She is no wealth, no abundance. And in fact, she is the goddess who gets very irritated because Chandra spends so much time with the other wives or spends so much time with Rohini, the beautiful, fertile, luscious goddess who is the energy of this coming eclipse, lunar eclipse on the 29th, 30th. And then the solar eclipse happens with Jyesta, the eldest one, whose symbol is a talisman or an earring, a magical talisman. And Jyesta's energy, unlike Rohini's energy, is very luscious, very inviting, very fertile. Jyesta is the opposite. She is the energy of the crone. She is the energy of the black goddess. She is the energy of not auspicious energy. Even she is called Alakshmi, or that who is inauspicious, she who does not bring fertile results, she who does not bring wealth. And so this energy of the solar eclipse that happens December 14th is much stronger. Or I shouldn't say much stronger. It is equally strong, but it is a more intense energy and a darker energy. A darker energy that has more to do with, while Rohini has to do with fertility and pregnancy, Jyesta has more to do with death, destruction, loss, sorrow. And so when we work with all of these archetypal energies, we're working with energies that are inside of ourselves. We're working to balance the energies that are inside of ourselves. And so that second solar eclipse that happens in December, that's a deeply Vata energy, where we'll really be needing to do soothing, nourishing self-care, of oil massage, of alternate nostril breathing, of taking care of ourselves throughout that transition of Jyesta nakshatra eclipse. So these are a few things that are coming up. Now, if we look at Ayurveda, Vedic astrology, and the goddess, there are some beautiful correspondences that can be made. And especially in terms of the cycle of a woman's life, the cycle of incarnation, and the planetary influences and the goddess influences. So each of the planetary powers have a correspondence with the 10 great cosmic powers, or the 10 Mahavidyas. And each one of those Mahavidyas has a correspondence to, is a different goddess energy, a different face of Kali, Lalita, Kali, both of them, and is also a different phase of an actual woman's embodied life cycle. And, coming up in goddess cycles, I'll be doing a workshop on Vedic astrology and the goddess, and looking at simple markers in the charts, in your own natal chart, that will tell you not only your Ayurvedic dosha and how your constitutional blueprint really manifests in this lifetime, but also looking at which particular Shakti, which particular goddess energy is most resonant with you. What is your embodiment? What is your goddess energy? We can look at this in a variety of ways. We can look at this in terms of the ruler of your planetary ruler and its correspondence to a goddess energy. You can also look at the heart goddess energy, your Ishvara Devata, in terms of the fifth house ruler. And we can also look at the Shakti of the nakshatra of the moon. So there are all these beautiful ways to look at the Shakti of your particular chart, because each of the 9 planets, have a different correspondence of a goddess energy that I'll be talking about in that workshop that's coming up this week as part of Goddess Cycles. In Goddess Cycles, we work with a goddess energy each month. We learn about and through and with her intuitively. And then we do a ton of workshops that have a resonance with that goddess energy. For example, last month, we worked with a particular goddess energy, and then we did workshops on releasing embodied stress, and we did workshops on alchemical emotional transformation, and we do many different things that work intuitively. This is not book learning or by rote learning. This is in the pathway of the female divine energy, sitting in a different kind of collective intuitive energy. So we'll be looking at the different faces of the goddess and her correspondences to the planets, and how we can look at our own charts to really understand what Shakti, what is really present there in your chart, in your blueprint. Because why is this important? Just as when we know more about our Ayurvedic doshas, then from that, we know more about how to live best through this incarnation. Really, it's about working with these archetypal blueprints so that we can live well and live better well as our own self. Likewise, when we come into resonance with particular archetypal energies, and an archetype is a form constant in space and time. That's what Jung called an archetype. When we come into deeper resonance with a particular archetype, and when we feel that blueprint of ourself or as an aspect of ourself, we become more fully ourselves. We become more fully ourselves and are able to more fully incarnate through all the aspects of the mundane life, the doing of the dishes and the shopping of the groceries and the caring for the children if there are children, or being in partnership. So this is a very beautiful resonance that in various forms throughout the world, people work with archetypes and blueprints, and in many ways we are missing this from our own, in many cases, from our own lives. And so we can fall into these archetypes because even the planets themselves are archetypes, and the doshas themselves, the Ayurvedic doshas, are archetypes that teach us how best to live through this incarnation. So rather than following a strict set of rules that says, I need to rise at this time and do this meditation and then scrape my tongue, it becomes more of a beautiful flow of energy moving through you and moving through the life, so that we can uplift ourselves and uplift others around us. Really, that's the pattern that we work with. So the mudra for this upcoming eclipse and lunar full moon that I like is, and this is not from traditional wisdom, but it fits very, very nicely. The full moon happens in Rohini, the rosy one. So Ala Padma Mudra, the opening flowers mudra, can be a very nice mudra for meditation. Kapota, closed petals. Ala Padma or Padma Mudra, the open petals. And a good breath, I think, for this full moon eclipse is Sitali Pranayam, inhaling through the mouth and exhaling out through the nose. And bringing in calm, cool, clear energy. Because this energy of this full moon is very passionate, has the potential to be passionate and creative, or angry and intense. If you are a creative person or an artist, you may feel this full moon lunar eclipse even more intensely. So, Hari Om Tat Sat, much love to you. I'll be doing another live in a couple of days where I answer all your questions about Ayurveda. If you find that thread, you can post your questions about Ayurveda. Much love to you. Hari Om Tat Sat. Take care, friends. Be well.